All right, we're going to get started. It's 10 o'clock. So this week's topic is about the kidneys. Back in the fall, we did a lot of stuff with the lungs because in Chinese medicine, oh, hold on, Lynn just popped on. I want to make sure. Hi, Lynn. Got to mute her. Second. Back in the fall, we talked about the lungs because that's the dominant organ related to autumn. So now we're in deeper winter. So the dominant organ is kidneys in Chinese medicine. And we talked about the spirit of the lungs, the Po back in the fall, which is the animal body. So now we're going to start getting into kidney topics. And the spirit of the kidneys is called the ZHI. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about what that is. So the Z often refers to willpower, and it refers to, so everything is sort of symbolic of what's going on in nature. So think about like a seed or a plant that's storing up its energy in the ground. It needs willpower to express itself to become what it's meant to be. And so whatever that purpose is of that plant is already stored in that seed. So it's like almost like a blueprint. So the seed knows what it's going to become. And so it is said that there's sort of this similarity to our own beings, right? So there's this part of us that knows what's right for us, knows what our truth is, knows what our purpose is. And when we live out of alignment with that, according to these principles of Chinese medicine, we're sort of fighting against our own self, and then we deplete our willpower. So when we live in alignment and we live with purpose, then it's said that we're not going to deplete ourselves. So if we're living out of alignment, we deplete our kidney energy, which is called the Jing. And the Jing is a word that means our energy reserves, our life force energy. It can relate to our immunity, our strength. So just having that robust vitality. And so if we're living out of alignment, that's going to get depleted. The Z provides us with drive, determination, persistence needed to materialize our dreams and our purpose. And another translation of Z is memory. And it said that it helps us remember where we are going and what we are here to do. And also, interestingly enough, when our Jing gets depleted and our kidneys are depleted, we start to lose our memory. So we know there's a strong correlation between kidney depletion and kidneys that are not functioning well and dementia. And so I'm going to get into that a little bit too, because last week we talked about how the brain needs to clear out those proteins, right, through the lymphatic system, if you were here last week. So there's a strong connection between the kidneys and what's going on with these proteins in the brain. So when the kidneys are weak and they're starting to kind of lose their vitality, they're not able to clear those proteins out as well. So the kidneys are like a filter, and it helps clear those amyloid proteins out that can accumulate in our brain. So sort of like a vicious cycle. So the more we have these proteins circulating in the body because the kidneys aren't filtering them out, they're going to accumulate. They can potentially accumulate in the brain, lead to more memory problems and dementia. And so it becomes sort of a vicious cycle. So in yoga, we can do things to help keep the kidneys healthy. In somatics today, we're going to focus a lot on working the fascia between our rib cage and our pelvis. So it's called the thoracolumbar fascia. And that fascia is kind of right in the area where the kidneys are. A lot of times it's tight, shortened, because we all tend to have issues with pelvic tilt. So when our pelvic tilt is off, like we tend to have an anterior tilt, this gets very tight in here. The kidneys sort of are pulled in and contracted. Another thing is we're in winter where the weather's been really cold, really brutal, and so that can affect the kidneys as well. In Chinese medicine, it's often promoted that you need to keep the kidneys warm. So, keeping that area warm. Sometimes there's in certain cultures, they wear these kidney bands around the kidneys to keep them warm. So it's like almost like a scarf that goes around here. So that can be depleting for it as well. So we're going to work on that area. So go ahead, come on your backs. And then let's just go ahead, come into nice deep breaths. Relationship between the lungs and the kidneys that we've talked about in the past is that the kidneys capture the chi from the lungs. So the ways that we accumulate chi or life force energy in our bodies is the prenatal chi that is stored in our kidneys. It's what we're born with. So the stronger our parents' chi and jing was, we're going to have more robust systems ourselves. So we're born with a certain amount. And then life tends to kind of deplete it through stress, lifestyle, diet, overworking, cold weather exposure. So all those things can deplete the jing. The way we replenish it through our breath, through our diet, through certain activities, like yoga, perhaps, going to be more replenishing. So as we breathe in, the kidneys capture the chi from our lungs if we're breathing nice, slow, deep breaths. So imagine you could breathe all the way into the lowest parts of your lungs. And the lowest parts of your lungs go all the way down into your bottom ribs. They take up a lot of space in our bodies. So if we could breathe down into our lower back ribs, we're getting closer to that kidney territory, the kidney band. So go ahead and continue that breath work for a little bit. I'm going to share a couple little more things about how to know if kidneys are starting to become compromised. I mentioned memory. So if our long-term memory is failing, premature aging, issues with our teeth and our bones, because the kidneys are related to bones, hair loss, painful knees and lower back, low libido, feeling cold all the time. And if a particular aspect of kidneys is depleted, which is called kidney yin, and this is associated with things like burnout, we might have dizziness, ear ringing, dry mouth, night sweats, and anxiety. All right. So let's just start out with bringing your right knee into your chest. And then just circle your foot around a little bit. The kidney pathway in the body, we've talked about meridians before. So meridians are the pathways in the body associated with each of our major organs. The kidney pathway begins in the foot. Go the other way if you haven't. Goes up the inseam of your leg, so up the inner ankle, inner leg, up into the inner thigh. Then it travels up the torso, both on the right and the left, all the way up to the area underneath our collarbones. And in Friday's class, we're going to do some self-acupressure points for the kidneys. So we'll talk more about that pathway on Friday. All right, let's go ahead and switch it out. Do your other leg, bring the left knee in, and we're just going to start to wake up the kind of lower part of this kidney pathway. The kidneys and adrenals have a close relationship. The adrenals sit right on top of the kidneys, and they relate to our stress response. So if we're always go, 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 stressed to the max, our adrenals are pumping out those stress hormones, adrenaline. And again, in the short term, it's helpful. In the long term, it can be depleting. So things that are helpful for this are grounding, working with the feet, Haven't gone the other direction, go ahead. If you've already gone both directions, you can release. All right, let's take a full body stretch on your next inhalation. Clasp your hands, flex your feet, press through your feet, and then go into up slip, down slip with your hands clasped overhead. So reach through one leg, then reach through the other leg. There's also close association with our psoas and the kidneys and adrenals and the diaphragm. They're all very closely connected through our fascia. And all of them relate to our stress response and fight, flight, freeze. So sympathetic dominance in our nervous system is going to be depleting for our kidneys and adrenals. So here we're lengthening out psoas, lower back. Imagine you're reaching your leg all the way from your bottom ribs and lengthen the leg away from your bottom ribs. All right, relax your arms for a moment and breathe. So we're gonna do a lot of lengthening the side body, a lot of side bends as well can help to open up that thoracolumbar fascia area. Take another nice deep breath all the way down into those lower back ribs. That deep breath can nourish the kidneys. Now we're going to interlace hands behind the back of the head. Keep your elbows wide. And we're going to go into some side bends with the up slip, down slip. So go ahead and reach through your right leg, but slide your left elbow down toward your left hip and reach through your right elbow. And then come back to the center. Reach through your left leg, slide your right elbow down toward your right hip, reach through your left elbow, and then come back to center. Okay, so go side to side. We're side bending on one side, and we're lengthening on the other side. Now, as you contract the one side, see if you can also draw your hip towards your elbow and your elbow towards your hip, and then relax. So when we do that, we're shortening that one side and we're contracting that side of the kidney, and the other side is opening, lengthening. Okay, so let's keep that going a few more rounds. And so what this does is it brings stimulation into this fascia that connects our rib cage to our pelvis. Brings energy flow here through the fascia. And also what's called the bladder meridian. So the bladder meridian is the pair to the kidney. There's always two. So we talked about lung and large intestine in the fall. Now it's kidney, bladder. And the bladder pathway is all the way up the back chain, backs of your legs, back of your spine, the back of your neck, and even over the top of your head into the corners of your eyes. Go ahead and do one more time on each side and then pause. In the pause, let the arms come down and take a few breaths. Equally important to take the pause and to breathe. And each time we come back into stillness, breathe deep into those lower back ribs. The kidneys are also associated with the water element. We talked about metal in the fall. Water element is sort of can be thought of as embryonic. So when we're in an embryo, we're in the water. This is before we start our major growth cycles. We're sort of like the seed with its potential before our life sort of starts to unfold. And so there's this aspect of the water element that refers to stillness and the wisdom of stillness and how stillness can help replenish us. We live in a world that is on constant movement, whether it's the images we're looking at on screens or driving in cars, very little stillness, quietude built into our lives. All right, so the next one we're going to do is a variation of what's called the banana pose. So banana pose is another side bend. We're going to take our right leg toward the right edge of your mat. And then take your left leg over to meet it. Perhaps you want to cross your ankles. And then your lower body is in that banana shape. Then we're going to take the upper body and shift it to the right as well. And we create a side bend. And you might feel that through your outer hips, your lower back. And then I'd like you to let the left hip get heavy toward the floor. It's going to want to pop up off the floor. Let both hips be grounded. Let's take both hands on the fronts of your hips. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, gently press down. All right, now from here, take your left arm into a full body stretch. And notice how that changes the sensation on your side body. If you want to go farther, take your left arm over to the right. Take your head toward the right. And now we're in a deeper side bend. If that's too much, take the arm straight into a full body stretch. And if that's still too much, let the hands stay down. All right, now we're in our position. We're going to take an inhale and reach through that left arm. It's either reaching straight overhead toward the wall behind you, it's on the floor, or reaching over toward the right side of your mat. Keep that left hip pressing into the floor, and then relax the stretch. And now let's repeat that. Inhale, reach through the arm. Left hip stays grounded. And then soften, relax. And then keep going. A few more rounds. You might also squeeze your inner thighs together. Squeeze your inner legs together if that's feeling good for you. As you're doing this, think about your breath coming into your lower left rib cage. Really expand the breath into the left ribs. You might gently press your head into the floor. The head might turn towards your right shoulder. So adding on whatever actions feel good, maybe the leg squeeze, maybe the head press. But try not to shortchange the breath. One more. All right, and then we're going to slowly, carefully and mindfully come back to the center, uncross your legs, and pause. Just feel how revitalized the left side might feel compared to the right. You sense more energy flow, maybe tingles, warmth. One more breath in neutral. All right, let's try the other side. Take your left leg toward the left edge of your mat. Take your right leg over to meet it. And decide if you want to cross your ankles. Doesn't matter to me which ankle is on top, whatever feels better. If you're already feeling a lot of sensation, maybe you don't need to move the upper body, but if you want, upper body moves to the left. Shift your shoulders, shift your ribs, shift your head and neck. And then hands on the fronts of your hips and just ground them for a moment. Make sure that right hip is heavy. And then right arm into a full body stretch. And that might be enough. Notice if one side was a lot different than the other. Maybe you want to take that arm over into the side bend toward your left. And then you'll deepen the sensation on the right side. Stay there for a breath. Breathing all the way into that right side rib cage. Imagine the kidney capturing that life force energy from the breath. Now adding on your pandiculation. So we're going to inhale, reach through the arm. Maybe feel a contraction through your left side waist. And then relax, soften. Repeating, adding on any of those things we talked about last side, maybe the leg squeeze. Maybe the head presses into the floor. And breathing into that right side rib cage. One of the best ways to calm the adrenals, which are kind of little sisters to the kidneys sitting on top, is good breath. Let's go a few more cycles. Not a big movement, but you'll feel various sensations through the side body, whether it's contracting or lengthening. Try to have a full exhalation. That's so important. 2 more. After that second round, remember slow motion, come back to center. So let the arm come down, shift your body back to the center, uncross your legs, and pause. Feel the right side of the body, any sensations going through that right side. All right, let's bend the knees if your legs are straight. Palms by your side, facing the floor. Slide your right hand towards your right heel and your right hip towards your right armpit and contract the side of your waist and release to the center. Slide your left palm down, left hip up, squeeze, and release. Side to side, very slowly, trying to find that contraction on the side waist. So every time we contract and shorten, we're contracting the fascia, we're squeezing that kidney area, and we release and invite fresh blood flow into the area. One more round on each side. And then pause. And in the pause, feet could stay flat or you could straighten them out, up to you. And let's just take a few breaths. So for me, one thing yoga has always asked of me is to be true to myself. And I think that once we get deeper into our yoga practice, it becomes harder to kind of, lie to ourselves. Got to be real with ourselves, honest with ourselves. And that's part of the spirit of the Z is, are we living in alignment? Are we being true to ourselves and what the heart asks of us? A connection between the heart and the kidneys, which I'm going to try and explore a little more next week if I can get my research done. But strong connection between heart and kidney energy. And oftentimes, I see this in some of my older clients and my mom in particular, other relatives. Those are the two organs that often, get compromised the fastest, heart and kidneys. Interlace your hands behind the back of your head. Let's go into some arch and curls. So inhale, arch your back, and we're pulling those kidneys up and in, contracting around the back ribs. And then exhale, we curl up. And the kidney area presses into the floor. Inhale, come down, arch your back. Exhale, curl up. And I'm deliberately going quite slowly today. So wintertime, water energy, kidney time is more about slowing down, nurturing, replenishing. And although we are always trying to go slow in somatics, let's just really focus on it today. And let the practice give you what you need. The next time you curl up, take a really long exhalation. Squeeze out all the breath. When you come down, there's going to be a bigger, brighter inhale. The more we exhale, the more we create conditions that we can take in a deeper inhale. So go ahead and do 2 more rounds like that. Long, long exhalation. And last one. Then pause, take a few breaths. All right, let's go ahead and straighten the left leg. Right leg's gonna open up into bound angle or tree pose position. Feel free to stick your blanket roll or a block under the right knee if you need support there. Right. Now from here, full body stretch with your arms. And then hold on to opposite elbows with your hands. We're going to walk the upper body over toward that right knee. So shift your arms, your shoulders, your ribs. How far you go is up to you. And we're in another side bend. So the right side is in a contracted state. The left side is more open in that kidney area, as well as the side body. Now we're going to inhale and contract the right side waist. Draw your right elbow toward your hip toward your elbow, and then soften, relax. Inhale, contract. You might even reach through your left foot. I have my left foot contracted when I inhale, and I let it relax on the exhale. You might also notice that when we open up the left side, more breath comes into the left side. And even the left nostril might open up more as we open the fascia here on the side. Now, as you inhale, breathe all the way down into that left back rib. Capture the chi. And exhale all the breath out. Maybe reach through the left elbow as you contract the right side. How much effort you put in is always up to you. Sometimes you might even find the right glute muscle turning on to help you contract. So you might accentuate that by giving it a little bit of more squeeze. Last two on this side. How low can that breath go? And then when you're finished that next exhale, let's go ahead and come back to the center. And then come back to a neutral position. Might be knees bent, might be legs out. Just drop in. Drop into gravity, that sense of grounding, also really important for the kidneys and adrenals. In Chinese medicine, the kidneys are considered the roots of our body. And so we want the roots to connect to the ground. And they're called the roots because they store up our vital energy. How do plants recover their vital energy? They go into a period of dormancy, where they're not in a growth cycle. They go more into the ground, called the yin time of that plant's life cycle, where when they grow and they push through the ground, it's called the yang time of their life cycle. And we'll talk about that when we get into liver in the spring. The liver and gallbladder are the spring organs. Okay, other side. So now we'll bend the left knee into the tree pose. Reach the arms into full body stretch. Hold opposite elbows. Maybe you want to switch your kind of habitual way you cross, up to you. And then side bend your upper body toward that left knee. Move your ribs, move your shoulders, your arms, your head. for any reason this arm position doesn't work for you, always listen to your body. I should have said that on the other side, but feel free to change your arm position if you need to. You could even put a blanket under your arms. All right, so here we go. Inhale, contract left side. Full deep breath into the right side. And then relax. And keep going. Maybe reaching through the leg and the elbow on the right side. Maybe contracting the left glute muscle. Maybe the head turns and presses into the floor. Breathe as deeply as you can, as low as you can in the body, and finish your exhale. Last few rounds on this side. Two more. And after you finish that second one, find your way back to neutral. Our kidney energy is also associated with creativity and sort of this, the incubation period required to create something. When we create something, it has to come from somewhere, right? It comes from this deep desire to create something. This idea of how do we bring something into manifestation? So it's an idea, so it's sort of, not concrete, it's not materialized, it's not birthed into the world yet. So that's that. Water element is sort of this container of where something begins, where life begins, but also our own creative endeavors. Take another nice full breath here. We might ask of ourselves, what is it I wish to create with this life that I'm given? Kidneys ask us to use our willpower to imprint upon life what it is we wish to create rather than let life happen to us. And then that's sort of a lack of willpower, right? We're not using our willpower to create something. We're letting life passively happen to us. And oftentimes when we do that, we're not living in alignment. All right, bend the knees again if their legs are out straight. Roll to your right side. And then stack up your knees in line with your hips. Rest your head on your bottom arm. Add a blanket if you feel like you need more support. And we're going to do our side crunches. Sort of kind of contracts again this target area we've been working on in the thoracolumbar fascia. We're going to take our top arm over the ear into a full body stretch. And then from here, the top arm is going to reach for the ceiling, and then reach for your hip, and then reach for your foot. Lift your head and contract your top hip towards your armpits. Give it a squeeze. And then inhale, take your arm over your ear, back toward the floor. Press down into the floor and lift your bottom ribs off the floor. Press into the bottom hip. And then reach through that top arm, reach for your foot, contract your hip towards your armpit, lift your head if you can, and then reach through the arm, expand, and lift the bottom ribs, open the top ribs. And that's the pattern. Keep going. Coordinate the movement with your breath cycle. If you want to go further, keep your knees glued together and lift your top foot, top shin, as if you're going to tap your foot and your hand. And then top arm reaches over the ear. Lift the bottom ribs. And continue. So if you want, you can lift that top foot and shin. That's going to increase that sensation of the side body contraction. Now, if this bothers your neck, feel free to put your hand around the bottom of your temple and hold the head instead of, using your muscular effort to lift your head. So your hand could support your head if you like. So give that as an option, or otherwise you can keep reaching through your arm. Let's do 3 more rounds. As you come down, really let the head and neck relax for a moment. All right, after you finish this next round, let's go ahead and pause. Rest your head. Keep those knees in line with your hips and have a few breaths. We're staying on the same side. We're going to do one more exercise here on the right side. Take your top foot behind you onto the floor with your knee pointing toward the ceiling. And then straighten your bottom leg, your right leg. Flex that right foot and anchor the right side of your body into the earth. So you're going to firm up through the bottom leg, bottom hip, and press into the ground. So it helps you stabilize. Now take the top arm up toward the ceiling. And then reach that arm over your ear and hold your top wrist with your bottom hand. Spin your pinky finger toward the floor so your arm spirals into the palm sort of facing the wall behind you. And you're really balancing on that bottom right side. As you inhale, reach through the top arm, traction it toward the wall behind you, lengthen the side ribs, and then exhale, soften. Okay, so we're basically just taking a full body stretch on the top side. Bottom leg presses into the floor. Back foot presses into the floor. And then traction that arm. And then relax. Now we're going to add a rotation here. So inhale, lengthen that top arm. Now roll your chest toward the floor, but keep that back knee anchored back. And then come back to the start. Inhale, traction the arm. Roll your chest toward the floor. Keep that back knee from dropping in. And then relax. So you're essentially rolling your rib cage toward the floor. Traction first, then roll. So we're building lots of length in that left side. So often everything's condensed, contracted, shortened due to postural things, sitting in chairs. And here we make space for the kidneys here as we lengthen the side body. All right, go ahead, finish out one more. And then relax your hand to the floor, bend both knees, come back onto your right side, take a pause. Let's come onto your back for another moment. Feel that left side versus the right. Remember, as we practice somatic yoga, we're also building brain maps, neurological connections from our body to our brain through our nervous system. And so we're strengthening our memory, strengthening our connections of body to brain. So many benefits beyond just the physical. All right, let's roll to your other side. Stack up the knees, bottom arm supports your head. Knees in line with the hips pretty much. And as you do this, really reach for your bottom arm. So you lengthen the bottom ribs and the bottom armpit area. Then take your top arm over your ear. Inhale here, and then you're gonna reach that arm up toward the ceiling, toward your hip, toward your foot, lift your head, and then slide your hip toward your armpit, top hip. Squeeze that side waist, and then inhale, reach through the arm. Lift the bottom ribs off the floor. And continue. Remember, you can always put your support your head with your arm, your hand, so you'll hold on to the temple. Or you continue working with the arm being straight. Tract, hip toward armpit. Adding in the lifting of the shin and the foot. I see some of you guys doing that. That's great. That's the next stage. Shin and foot lift. The knees stay glued together, so don't lift the knee. That's going to increase that side body contraction. Try to bring your foot and your hand towards each other. Somatic work also builds safety in our nervous system. The dominant emotion of kidneys is fear. We talked about fall, lungs are sadness and grief. The kidneys are fear. And we live in a very fear-based culture right now, right? A lot of things we're just kind of had a little conversation before. There always seems to be something new on the news to bring up anxiety and fear. So as we do our practice, we build safety back in. We let go of all that external stuff. Really just bring our awareness, our attention back into the body. Let's do one more on this side. And that's also beneficial for our kidneys and adrenals to calm fear, calm anxiety. All right, let's rest down for a moment. Bring those knees back in line with the hips if they shifted. Pause for a few breaths, and then we'll move into that rib cage movement next. Take one more breath here. All right, top foot, bring it behind you onto the floor. Kneecap faces the ceiling. Foot flat. Extend your bottom leg, flex the foot, and root down into the ground with that lower body. So we're going to press into that left leg, firm up the hip. That's going to help your balance. Because now we're going to take that top arm over into a full body stretch, and it becomes harder to balance there. So we got to use those lower muscles of the lower body. Hold your top wrist with your bottom hand and spin your pinky finger toward the floor, turning your palm toward the wall behind you any amount. First couple rounds, just a stretch without the roll. Inhale, traction that top arm, lengthen your side body. And then exhale, relax. Do a few of those. So good for our posture to lengthen out our side body. When we're shortened here, the fascia starts to adapt to that shortened position, and it can compromise our breathing, our digestion, which are the two ways that we can replenish our chi if we are depleting it through our diet, through our breath. So if we're not breathing well, we're not digesting well, we're going to keep depleting. And then we end up with things like adrenal fatigue. Too much adrenaline pumping out, and eventually the body's like, no more. Battery needs to recharge. Right now, adding that roll, inhale, lengthen the side body, traction the arm, and then roll your chest toward the floor, but press your top knee a little back. Don't let that drop in. And then come back to neutral as you exhale. Inhale, lengthen and roll. Exhale to soften. And continue. Couple more on this side. Okay, finish that next one and then release your arm down. Stack your knees up again. Pause on your side and breathe. Okay, this time we're rolling to the belly. Let's roll all the way around. And first, let's just stack up your palms and rest your head on your palms. And in this position, breathe into your lower back ribs. Right, from here, prop up onto your forearms and hold on to opposite elbows with your hands. So I know you're facing away from me, so just follow my cues. I'll try watch if you're doing anything wrong. So we're gonna tuck our toes under. We've done this one before. This is a somatic cobra. We're gonna lift the knees off the floor, the toes are tucked, and we open up the soles of the feet. Push your arms into the floor, lift your chest, and we have a bit of contraction through the kidney band and the lower back. Now from here, look over your right shoulder and pull your elbows slightly left. They're not moving, it's isometric. Come back to center. Look over your left shoulder, pull the elbow slightly right, and go side to side. Now, as I go to the right, I'm going to push my left heel back a little more intentionally. So it increases that side bend, another side bend. We're also in a back bend. Almost like a little up slip, down slip. This hits the psoas as well, and that slight compression through the kidney area. Do one more on each side. And then relax. All the way down. Wiggle out the hips, maybe windshield wipers. Okay, let's let the feet come back down. Pause. Breathe into your lower back. No, we're almost out of time. We get to a little ball work. Okay, first let's come up once again and hold opposite elbows. One more thing here. And then we're going to pick our feet up off the floor. Press down in your arms. Lift your chest. Pull the belly toward the arms toward the belly, and contract through your lower back ribs. Maybe pull your shoulder blades down, and then release your feet, release your head, drop your chin. Okay, let's do that again. Pick the feet up, lift the gaze. Contract through your lower back ribs. Maybe even try to lift your thighs. They're not really going to go anywhere, but that action of trying to lift is going to contract. Let it go. Feet come down, head comes down, chin down. Repeat. How much you contract depends on your body. Are you getting hamstring cramps? Then go easy. We're alternating between contracting the back body, the kidney area, and then relaxing it. Last one. And then we'll come all the way down. Back to those little hip wiggles or windshield wipers. we're going to release back to child's pose. And child's pose is a nice kind of opening for the kidney area. So you might have knees wide, you might have knees together, see what's more comfortable. You might have hands under your forehead or your arms reaching back. And then deep breaths into your lower back. Imagine you're inflating a balloon in your back rib. You want to widen and spread the back ribs out. 2 more breaths. All right, let's go ahead and make your way onto your back. We're going to grab our double tennis balls. Keep a blanket nearby in front of your head for later. We don't need it yet. We're going to come down and give the balls a little squeeze so that you're going to lift up and place the balls near your lower back ribs. So kidney band area. And just settle into that for a few breaths. Generally, there's going to be a little bit of sensation there. Could be intense, be a little achy or tender. Let's hold it there for 2 more breaths. And then let's start to straighten the legs and see if that's tolerable. You can always shift a little up or down with the balls if they're not in a good spot for you. All right, flex the feet and go into up, slip, down, slip with your legs. Let your head roll to one side. So as I reach through my left leg, my head rolls right. And the tennis balls kind of massage out that area. Often, again, it's tight, contracted with the cold and or posture or stress. If the balls are too intense, you know you can always put a blanket on top of the tennis balls or do anything without them as well. For me, I'd like to have them below the bone of the rib cage, right at the top edge of the lumbar area. All right, let's go ahead and interlace hands behind the back of the head and repeat that one we did in the beginning with the side bend. So reach through your right leg, slide your left elbow down, right elbow up, and then release to center and switch. Inhale, side bend one side, lengthen the other. And continue. So most often we don't start with ball work. It's often, perceived as a little invasive in the body right off the bat. But as we work with the fascia, soften it, relax our nervous system, the body's a little more receptive to this pressure. And, we don't recoil or contract as much. We can almost soften into it. It's like if you go for a really deep tissue massage and they go right at it really intensely, the body's not often ready for that. So you kind of have to coax it into allowing the deeper pressure. Let's do one more on each side. Back to the center and pause. Let's just keep the balls there for a moment. All right, let's bend the knees again. You might shift the balls a little up, a little down if you like. And just windshield wiper now. And as you windshield wiper, notice those balls kind of pressing in deeper on one side. Let your head go opposite of your knees. Go slowly. All right, come back to the center. Let's take the balls away and just let that area kind of melt into the ground. Let's pull both knees up and into the chest. Wrap your arms around your knees and clasp if you can. And it kind of rounds that back area a little bit. And now rock side to side. Keeping the knees close in is going to help that pressure go a little higher up toward those lower ribs, where if I put my knees further away, the pressure goes down toward the hips and the sacrum more. So keep the knees squeezing up and in and rock. All right, let's pause and take the arms and legs up for seaweed and just circle into a little floating circle. Limbs relaxed and joints are all soft. Going to be in that water element, like you're floating in warm water. All right, let's slowly float the arms and the legs back down. Pause for breath. And make your way into Shavasana in your own time. Adding any props, layers. Really come into that sense of deep rest. So good for rejuvenating kidneys. To have adequate rest. When we have adequate rest and we rejuvenate kidney energy, we can assist with that process of clearing out those proteins that might otherwise circulate up and damage our brain tissue. So they can do their good work as a filter, clearing metabolic waste, filtering our blood, in the body maintain homeostasis. It's said that the kidneys process up to half a cup of our blood per minute. From this filtration, excess water and waste products are sent to the bladder to be eliminated. So again, this close relationship between kidneys and bladder. Removing certain acidic compounds from your blood that are byproducts of the body's cell activities. Healthy kidneys mean a healthy variance of minerals, salts, and waters within the blood, while unhealthy kidneys create the opposite, a fluid and nutrient imbalance. Today's reading is from Bridget Anna McNeil. I can feel the seeds within me stirring, calling, pulling, asking me to listen, to follow the path they wish to grow for me. Wistfully, I look at what I have grown, the path I've made already that stretches out behind me. I see its medicine weeds, the richness of soil, and I also see where it has become run down, the earth dry, the roots weakening. I know the path is changing. I know my soul is calling for something new. And I watch the brave shoots of green, the buds on the tree branches, and I wonder if I have the same bravery, the same courage to let these new seeds of mine take me. In the next few moments, we're going to start to come back. Begin those small, gentle movements. Eventually, make additional movement before coming onto your side. Take your time. Eventually coming back up into a seated position. And once you arrive there, really lengthen up tall through your center. The side bend's so good for just kind of increasing that length through the side body, increasing our ability to rise up through our center. We'll bring our palms together in front of the heart space. Take an inhale, exhale, bow to your heart. Namaste. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good week. Stay warm.